Assalamu alaikum, it's Tim here from Urban Dunya, and welcome back to Spectacle, the series where I'm showing you some of the most amazing religious experiences and rituals around the world that I have ever experienced. Today I'm coming to you from Lahore, and it is Eid al-Adha, so Eid Mubarak, and we are about to experience the spectacle of this festival here in the streets of Pakistan. Eid al-Adha is the festival of sacrifice, and today commemorates the willingness of Abraham, the Prophet Ibrahim in Islam, to give something up for Allah, for God. What he gave up, or what he was prepared to give up, was not something small. In fact, the story goes that Allah tested him and his obedience by asking him to sacrifice his son Ishmael. He was willing to do that as a mark of obedience, and at the last minute, in a sign of mercy, Allah and angels actually swapped out his son Ishmael for a goat, and that goat was then symbolically sacrificed. This is what's happening here today, and behind me you can see that here I am in Lahore, Pakistan, and just outside of the mosque where the prayers have finished, people are sacrificing their goats and cows and other animals as well. However, this festival actually began in its preparation several weeks ago. I should mention here that Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice, can be quite grisly. In the next few minutes of this video, there are images of live animals being sold and transported, people, including butchers, preparing for and performing a sacrifice, although you won't actually see the animal in that moment, carcasses being skinned and meat being prepared, and blood and guts being cleared up in the aftermath of a sacrifice. As I said, I won't be showing the images of the animal in the moment of the sacrifice, but I should warn you that you'll see everything except for that. If this is not for you, then now is the time to switch over to something else. Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, reaches its climax in these days, while back home in Pakistan, Muslims who aren't travelling start buying up livestock a month or two before. A huge livestock market is set up on the outskirts of Lahore, where it's possible to buy any of the animals which are decreed suitable for sacrificing: goats, sheep, cows, buffaloes, and camels. There are pros and cons to buying earlier or later. The earlier you buy, the cheaper the price, but then you're left with the burden of caring for a large animal for several weeks, while late buyers nearly always pay more. This year, goats and sheep cost anywhere between $100 to $400 depending on the size and date of purchase. Cows and buffaloes cost upwards of about $700 and camels slightly more. It's not absolutely necessary to sacrifice an animal for Eid. A lot of people don't, but those with the means tend to do it. Mosques and community centres often buy several animals to sacrifice, with the intent of the meat being distributed among the local community. The animals are often decorated too. They're not considered just any animals for meat, but special possessions who have a date with destiny, a sort of higher purpose. Then comes the task of transporting the animals home. Any means seem to work. Purchasing food for them is also important. They need to remain healthy until Eid day, otherwise they cannot be sacrificed. In suburban settings, they're often kept in gardens, but inner city dwellers keep their goats on their balconies or rooftops, while cows and camels are tied up in the street or at a local park. Part of keeping the animal for sacrifice is caring for it. After all, it's not a sacrifice if it isn't valued. And the sacrifice isn't just about preparing meat, it's about parting with something that the owner has nurtured. The night before Eid, women get their hands painted with henna, and the shops are buzzing with people out to buy new outfits for the big occasion. The morning of Eid, prayers are performed at the mosque, and then after everyone wishes each other Eid Mubarak, the ritual begins. It's macabre, but when the local mosque has brought up 8 cows to be sacrificed, it certainly draws a crowd. Meanwhile, in homes, butchers who have been pre-booked turn up and begin to make their preparations, like sharpening the knives and directing a stream of water to keep the area of sacrifice as clean as possible. Once it's ready, a family member might also help to hold the animal down while the butcher begins his work. The sacrifice must be done with a very sharp blade and has to be one sharp, quick cut to the jugular vein while reciting certain Arabic phrases. A cow, too large to be sacrificed in someone's garden, is sacrificed in the street, leaving pools of blood in its wake. Once the blood has been drained out of the animal, the butcher starts to skin it. Meanwhile, back at the mosque, the meat is being cut up, sorted, weighed, and then divided into packages to be distributed among the community with an emphasis on the poor. Islamically, at least a third of the meat must be donated to the needy, a third distributed among neighbors and family members, and no more than a third to be consumed by the animal's purchaser and his or her family. By the evening, the streets of Lahore look like a war zone, obviously a logistical and hygiene nightmare for the authorities, who set up neighborhood help desks distributing cleaning equipment. There are roaming teams to wash away the blood and dispose of the unused bits of animal, and a mobile phone app if you require any of their services on your street. Meanwhile, the animal skins are usually donated to charities who can then sell them on to leather merchants. And inside the houses, the first dinner of the sacrifice is being served. Next week, I'll be continuing my Saudi Arabia vlogs. Don't forget to subscribe.